Welcome to my YouTube channel, 90% Native. My name is Michelle and I garden in Northern Virginia in Zone 7A. Today I am going to start a series of videos that spotlights a native plant, and they should just be quick 5 to 10 minute videos talking about that plant and also sowing the seeds of that plant. The plant that I want to talk about and I want to sow today is called Golden Alexanders or Zizia Aurea. This is one of my absolute favorite native plants. It is so easy to grow and it looks great for so many seasons that I just love having it pretty much everywhere. Golden Alexanders, they're a plant that can deal with partial shade, but in my experience, they look better and they're sturdier plants if you plant them in almost full sun. Golden Alexanders are really tolerant of a lot of different conditions, but for them to especially thrive, they like a medium to moist soil, verging more on the moister side. The plants will grow 2 to 3 feet tall, and so when I say that, they're about 1 to 2 feet tall without their blooms, but then when they do start to bloom, they shoot up stalks, and that when the stalks shoot up, then they get to be about 3 feet tall. The flowers on the end of those stalks are umbels. They're yellow umbels and they really resemble Queen Anne's lace, but yellow. Very bright golden yellow. Golden Alexanders are super early bloomers. Documentation shows that they bloom in April, May, maybe the beginning of June too. In my experience, my Golden Alexanders will start blooming in March. They are one of the first things that I see blooming in my landscape. Another reason why I especially love Golden Alexanders is because they are the host plant to the black swallowtail butterfly. A host plant is a plant where butterflies will lay their eggs on the stems and the leaves of those plants, and then when those eggs hatch into caterpillars, those caterpillars survive on that specific plant. So Golden Alexanders are the host for the black swallowtail butterfly. I believe also the Ozark butterfly, but we don't have that butterfly here. And there are many other members of the carrot family, which Golden Alexanders are a part of, that also host the black swallowtail caterpillars. As far as being edible, Golden Alexanders do have parts that you can eat and parts that you can't. Now, when I tell you this, don't take what I say as a guarantee. You'll need to do your own research on what you choose to eat and not to eat. But based on my research, Golden Alexander flowers can be used raw in salads or cooked like broccoli. The stems can be used like celery, but now here's the bad part. The roots of the Golden Alexanders may be toxic, so just be forewarned. So anyway, yeah, if you're interested in how to prepare or eat Golden Alexanders, definitely do your own research and look into that. But I may be trying some of the flowers and the stems this year, as I mentioned. I have been looking into more food sustainability for my family and also a native plant agriculture. This is one plant that I may give a try this spring. The foliage on the Golden Alexanders stays really, really nice almost all year, and they're pretty much evergreen. But if you are looking to add a little formality by using this plant, you can cut the plant back a couple inches above the ground, and you'll see where like the new foliage is. So you'll want to cut above that, and then you will have new foliage in no time that is a little nicer looking than the other foliage. However, you don't even need to do that. It will stay nice all year long. I just happened to do this experiment last year and the foliage looked a little bit cleaner, tidier, neater on the patch that I cut back. Also, you can collect seeds from the seed heads once they dry up and turn black, but you can also leave a lot of them up, and it really adds a lot of winter interest to your landscape. If you look on the internet, you will see that people say that Golden Alexanders are short-lived. They probably are, but mine self-seed, self-sow themselves so prolifically that I've had them out for probably 4 years. And the established patches, my oldest patches, I've never had to plant more in those spaces, and I actually grab little seedlings and move them around the yard when I do see them self-seeding a little bit outside of the boundaries that I want them to stay in. And finally, the golden Alexanders should not be confused with wild parsnips. Wild parsnips are in the same family, the carrot family, and they look very, very similar. But wild parsnips are toxic. They're toxic to humans and mammals, and they can create, I believe it's a very bad burn on your skin, almost like a 3rd-degree burn. But they look so much alike. But just know what you're touching, what you're eating, you know, all that kind of good stuff, and be able to tell the difference between a golden Alexander and a wild parsnip. Okay, so then next up, I want to go ahead and sow the seeds that I collected in the fall. So I am going to sow the seeds in a metal container that I got from my grocery store. And because it's like the aluminum type of metal, I just took a sharp knife and poked holes all around so that there would be drainage holes in the bottom. This set actually came with a top too, but golden Alexanders, and I should have said this earlier, golden Alexanders need a 60-day cold moist stratification process. Cold stratification is whereby seeds will break their dormancy after a certain amount of exposure to extremely cold weather. And so these seeds want to freeze and defrost, and that is what, after a certain amount of time, and in this case for the golden Alexanders, that would be 60 days. So in that amount of time, then it's a signal to the seed that it can germinate, break its dormancy, and germinate. So because it's February 1st, and this is like so entirely late, like I normally would have done this in November, December timeframe, so I'm just kind of hoping for the best, but we do still have some cold weather coming, so I'm hoping I'm catching it right in time. So I will not use this top. I'm just going to put some of my homemade peat-free potting soil in here, and then I'm going to show you how I get the seeds, how I clean up the seeds so that I can sow them. So I filled up this aluminum container with my homemade peat-free potting soil, and while I was doing that, I happened to think, I told you that the plastic top I'm not going to use because I want the golden Alexanders to experience the cold. So what I am going to use it for is to bottom water this tray. I have a similar situation downstairs where I did use the plastic top to go over the plants, and that's because they were plants that didn't require cold stratification, and I want to get them going a little faster so they're a little bigger come springtime. So in here, in this bowl, I have golden Alexander seeds. So what I normally do to get the seeds from the seed heads is I will pinch the top, so most of the seeds are right here, and then I will just kind of crush that or rub my fingers around on that, and then the seeds just drop off into the bottom of the bowl. So I'm done separating the golden Alexander seeds from the seed heads, and there's still a lot of that chaff or chaff in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to see if I can get a little bit of that out using this sieve. So I use a white paper plate here. There's some seeds. I've got seeds everywhere. And then I'm going to dump it, and let's see if we can't get some of that. Okay, so as for sowing the seeds, they don't have any special requirements other than the 60 days of cold, wet stratification. So this is my homemade pre-moistened, peat-free potting soil. So I'm just going to sprinkle the entire top with a lot of these seeds, and then I'm going to cover it with a little bit more soil, and then I'm going to cover it with some vermiculite. And something about sowing native plant seeds, you can sow really, you can sow really heavy with native plant seeds. They'll work themselves out. Don't even think that you have to do like onesie twosie things. You just sow them, you can take a clump of them when they grow, plant them out. Trust me, they will work themselves out. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see this or not, but this is very heavily sowed. Got a problem with light here, sorry about that. Very heavily sowed, and now I will go put the, lightly put the potting soil on top and then a layer of vermiculite. Okay, so I've added a very thin layer of potting soil over top of the seeds, and then I'm going to add a layer of vermiculite. Vermiculite keeps moisture in the soil. I also have vermiculite in my homemade peat-free potting soil. It also helps with algae if you get that, and I think that it helps with fungus gnats as well, but don't quote me on that one. I think it does, but I just might be throwing it in there, you know, with all the little things that I do to prevent fungus gnats and algae and all that kind of stuff. But this pan is actually going outside. Okay, and then the tag. So I made this little watering jig so I could moisten up the vermiculite in the top layer of the soil but not displace everything. It's not perfect, okay? It's definitely not perfect, but it does the job well enough. So these are ready to go outside and cold stratify for the next 60 days. But we still have a ton of golden Alexander seeds, and I want to show you what I do with those. So here are all the golden Alexander seeds that are left. And what I'm going to do is I keep medicine bottles, like prescription bottles, and then I also use a lot of this stevia from Trader Joe's. It's like just straight stevia. So I'm just going to store my seeds in here, and I will label them, and I'm going to put them somewhere away from light and somewhere cool, maybe on my pantry floor, or I might store them in my garage actually until the springtime. So let me go ahead and label that so that I don't forget. So I went ahead, put a piece of tape on this. I'm going to label it Golden Alexanders, but I have a label maker, so I probably will give them a label later. I'm not going to do it now. I have a problem putting seeds places and thinking that in my head I'm going to remember what they were, because I don't like to have to label things all the time because it's annoying. I've just found like a whole bunch of seeds. I have no idea what they are, but they were under my bottle brush grass seeds. I think they might be one of the calyxes that I grow or one of the sedges that I grow. I don't really know. So I sewed them up and put them outside, and they're just going to be just a surprise. I just thought of something. If you have a garage refrigerator, I know you can't do that in some parts of the country, but we do. We have a garage refrigerator, and I store a lot of my seeds in there, especially during the summertime. And what I've done is where you have like the two pull-out drawers at the bottom, it's like one of those old school refrigerators. You pull out those two drawers at the bottom and then just throw those away or put them to the side or something, and then you can organize your seeds under there. Or you could just put them in those drawers, but one of my containers is bigger. It won't fit in that drawer. Golden Alexander seeds, all nice and cleaned up. I don't know if you can see them, but there's a lot of seeds in there. That's probably 3/4 of the way full. So once you have golden Alexanders, you will never have to buy another one. Like, you plant one, you will never have to buy another one again, because you can get so many seeds off of them. So this is great. So seeds are done and organized. The seeds are sown and ready to go outside. And thank you so much for joining me in this very first native plant spotlight video. And I hope to see you again here. And just thank you so much for watching. I will see you again next time.